Hi there, Mary. Welcome back to another episode of Life by Randi. So good you could join us today.
Oh, I'm very thrilled. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And it's February already. It's February 4th as Mary and I engage in our chat today. And we are going to be talking about the heart center and how the heart matters, why the heart matters, and all things about the heart in honor of the month of February, which is, we know, is Valentine's Day coming up February 14th. So I thought it was a good time for the LBR community to dive into everything surrounding the heart. Are you on board, Mary?
I'm ready. I am ready. I love it. I love it. What's the LBR community?
Life by Randy community.
I love it. Thank you. I love it. I'm a part of the LBR community.
You are. You helped co-found the LBR community with what you did with me and my beautiful C cells. So
Love it. Thank you. Thank you.
welcome. Oh my goodness. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Mary Mazur has worked with me in the end of 2020, Mary. It was November 29th, 2020, when we had our first session with Psych-K, Psych-K. Came through the biology of belief work of, I think, Dr. Bruce Lipton. And Mary is a certified Psych-K facilitator
It's instructor. Instructor.
and an instructor, and one of a handful globally. And you're also a Tai Chi instructor, and you're a holistic certified RN, I believe. And you just bring a wealth of knowledge to not only the LBR community, but to all of your amazing clients, of which I am one of, happily so. And Mary helped me transform my stage 4 cancer cells into turning to the light and transmuting within 5 months to be cancer free, declared cancer free back last April 2021, and another PET scan July 2021. Mary, amazing work. So, and that's just one of the things that you helped me transmute, but that is with such obvious tangible results, all my blood work and the PET scan. So Mary conducts workshops, and we'll be putting some links below because Mary is coming to Cleveland. Yay! In April, the beginning of April, for a 3-day workshop for Psych-K. Mary travels the world, the globe, and conducts these Psych-K workshops and helps all of us to learn how to do this for ourselves, which is unlocking the subconscious. So we're going to have Mary April 8th, 9th, and 10th in Bracknell, which is right outside of Shoreby, which is right outside of Cleveland, at the Shoreby Club, which is a historic place right on the lake. So we're going to welcome Mary to the Cleveland community. And again, we'll have links below and have other videos sharing all that information. So Mary, anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, no, thank you. It's whoever's ready. So then this is what we'll be bringing into this talk here today is that there's been so much going on, especially these last 2 years, right? And it's been actually a huge gift. It can be tough. I know people have gone through a lot of tragedies, a lot of hurts, everything from all over. And what we can help people with is to recognize that it's here to serve us and that we're actually creating this reality. And then when we can wake up and recognize that we actually create our realities based on the beliefs that we have at the subconscious level of the mind. And the gift here is that you can actually change those beliefs. So we agreed to have the beliefs that's being shown up in the outside world now of control and fear and lack of freedom, I guess, would be probably like the biggest energy or the challenge. Are we free or not? That would be a good question. So that's a good question. I know I asked myself, do I feel free? Am I free? Right? And the outside world might act like we're not so free. Fair enough. So then that's actually the invitation for us to go within ourselves. And that's in asking, am I free? Do I believe that I am free? I'm a free, divine, sovereign being to be able to move freely, travel freely, share my life, expand if whatever services we have, to share our gifts and to shine our light and to be our amazing selves experiencing and living here on earth. And if you don't, then that may mean that there may be some limiting beliefs or some blocked beliefs that you can change. And that's the gift of Psych-K. And that's what I've definitely done with myself, for the last 12 years. And then I love that I can help other people do it. And it's all when you're ready. So that's the gateway. You do need to have a bit of courage and willingness to take some self-responsibility, to recognize, holy crap, my internal world is actually creating this outside world.
Yes.
And then so if that's the case, okay, once you work with yourself with anger or mad, sad or things like that, then start saying, but guess what? You also have the wisdom to be able to change it. And that's Psych-K helps you just access that wisdom within you. It's a gateway, a key to help you unlock what's in your subconscious, and to change those limiting beliefs into enhancing ones, into the true, real ones, not the distorted ones or the false ones that we embodied.
And 95% of our brain activity comes from the subconscious, which are the programs where the limiting beliefs reside, right? That they have been written on our souls from the third trimester in utero up to, say, 7 years old. And so those programs stay with us. And if you believe in past lifetimes, we bring past lifetimes into the present moment. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so for me, there was a program while I was going through my cancer where I felt life wasn't worthwhile to live, or, whatever those limiting beliefs were that manifested the cancer at a stage 4, very accelerated pace. Mm-hmm. But within really one session, we started turning that around. Mm-hmm. We did. And so I've been listening to Dr. Bruce Lipton more and more on YouTube, because I've been a devotee of Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I love Bruce Lipton's approach and his videos. And so he was discussing this morning as I was listening to some, he was talking more obviously about the 95% subconscious. But so that we can really, though, change those in really short order. It doesn't have to be laborious and a long drawn out process. So that's the underpinnings of what we're going to be talking about today. That's the foundation, is Psych-K, accessing the subconscious and the limiting beliefs. Now, because it is the month of February, we're going to be talking about the heart. And so why is it important to live from the heart? And what is living from the heart center all about? And even as it relates to this electromagnetic field that we give out with our beliefs that actually co-creates our reality. How is that meshed?
All right. Beautiful question. Thank you. So the heart is symbolic, and this is just my understanding. So I'm sharing my understanding. So I also want to give honor, if anyone doesn't resonate with it, then honor whatever you believe. So we do want to honor everyone's belief systems. But what I have embodied and embraced about the heart is, so the heart represents many pieces. One, it represents our feminine energy, is how I see it, and the mind is more of our masculine energy. So I view this as like the dance of the polarity that happens in this universe and happens here on Earth, that we have opposites of things. We have things that are meant to work together in unity, but a lot of times don't. They have inner conflicts and they fight. And so the masculine, feminine energies within each one of us is just like outside of us. When we have a man and a woman, let's say, that decide to come together, or be friends or whatever, right? We have different. I know my dad was way different than my mom. Okay, I can definitely say that completely, right? And yet they did learn how to complement each other. Okay, we have that within our own self too. So if you want to see, the heart represents more of our feelings, our intuition, our divine connection, our connection with our true essence, our light and our love is the heart represents that. So, and we use that in our language, right? Man, they don't have a heart, right? They'll say because they're like their heart's closed off. And then we have a free will choice with how open our heart is or how closed our heart is. And through life experiences, I know for myself, I definitely closed off my heart. I was taught to be tough. My dad was a Marine. And just with the world, I was born in the energy of fear with the civil rights, crisis going on in the late 60s that I was like, what? No, heck no. And it's not safe. And a lot of us will close off our eyes when we lose people. People die, and then you're like, oh, someone you love, they're gone now. And so little by little, a lot of our subconscious mind closes off our heart. And a lot of us were programmed to live by our mind, and our mind is our thoughts. Our mind is our more of the masculine. It's the doer. It's the one that has to help us survive in a way. With the thinking, it's getting in our heads, right? Instead of living from our heart. And when we live from our heart, living from your heart is also representation, is like listening to your body, listening to your gut feeling, listening to your intuition. This is a different way of being. Instead of getting stuck in your head where you're like, no, this is what I think I should do. The most important thing I should do. Is that really so? Because that could just be a limiting belief. It could just be a belief that we have, right? That we say, oh, yes, we should do this or not do that. Living from your heart and from your heart center is a different way. And that's the way of opening up to the channels of your spirituality, of your non-physical part of you, actually. So it's I know it's a whole another gateway, and I know I love it. So I love that February is the heart month, right, with Valentine's Day, and even 2/2. We just had 2/2 2022, and we're going to be having 2/22 2022, right?
Right.
It's the message of 2, which is togetherness. It's unity. It's bringing together, right? Instead of being in the oneness. So, being like separate and individual. Okay. And that's the funny thing. The oneness, we're all together, right? So, but the 2, this is the second month. It's the February month, the second month too, right? That it's helping us wake up and remember, one, that we're never alone, that we always have supports. And these are the things that Psych-K helped me embody to make sure my subconscious believes this and knows this, so that I will then be able to experience it in my life and have it. So the heart gateway, because I closed it off so much, that was huge too, to be able to open those pieces, those parts that I have been hurt, or I felt not even worthy. If you don't feel worthy, you'll shut off your heart because you don't feel you're worthy enough to even receive. This is the receiving part of us, and the mind is more of the giving, the doing part of us. The create, you create your ideas. That's a great thing to do, to have your what you think is like a logical way to do things. That's important. It's actually good to have. And it's super important to have your feelings part. Does it feel good? Does it feel right for you? Are you doing it out of fear because you have to for survival, or are you doing it because you love it and it's joyful? So it's connecting those feelings, connecting that intuition.
And so often in this 3D plane, this existence that we've been forced to live in, or we've actually co-created by accepting all the restrictions, we oftentimes have to do things we don't want to do, that don't feel right. And we learn to close off our feelings and just kind of gut it out, suck it up, and do the job. And so over the course of time, you may think you're living from your heart and loving the best you can, but in reality, kind of that's all getting sucked out of you, and not doing it intentionally. And not only that, but because there are so many subconscious programs that are running, the involuntary nature of things is just these automatic programs that we're unaware of. Mm-hmm. And this is what I learned through working with you, is that because of these subconscious programs, I couldn't think my way out of any situation by just thinking positive, or just feeling like I was joyful and happy, and wondering, why aren't things exactly working out for me? Even though on the outside, it looked like I was living a fine life. Everyone lives, we all have this other nature of us that's deep inside our hearts, right? They say your heart's desires. Mm-hmm. So if you live long enough, and I just turned 60 last November, and so a lot of decades of experience in the rearview mirror, and you think you look at your life and what you're creating, and it can look fine, but yet at places it doesn't feel fine. And so like, what do you do with that? So if things aren't necessarily, if they're, say, like lukewarm in your life, even, it doesn't have to be a big tragedy. It's about going within. They say, go within and access your heart, right? Those heart's desires. But when you look at them and you look at what you've manifested in your life, sometimes there's a chasm. Then what do? How do you correct? How do you self-correct? I know that I self-corrected by getting a divorce about, I don't know, 12 or so years ago. That was a big self-correction, right? And to go on another path and a journey. But it took a lot of courage to deconstruct and then look within and look around, because I wasn't ultimately living a life that felt right in my heart. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I know that there are many, many out there who are living the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And right. And not everyone can just deconstruct their lives. And I get that. But that is a major epiphany to have that. And I think if you haven't had that experience yet in life, collectively, it seems like we are shifting into those energies, Mary, mm-hmm. of living from a more heart-centered place on a collective scale. And I think it's because we have been being restricted. You're talking about freedom. Are we free? Are we free to make our choices? What choices are we not free to make? What are we forced to be making? There's a constriction happening that's causing, I think, millions and millions to go within and start to live from our heart. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. And I think the Canadians are showing this massively with the convoy, right? The truck convoy, which is so beautiful, that they united and said, listen, and the big old trucks, right, that are causing all kinds of physical things to say, wake up. And I have friends that are helping like feed the truckers and, cheering them on. And they said the love and the unity, because they're doing it peacefully. That's a huge one, right? Super huge. So that's a physical, right, step that people can take if they so choose. So what we're offering here is to begin within yourself, right? Obviously something happened within them that had them go do that. And it's starting to happen across, I know, America and even Europe. Good. Keep it going, because it's our right to stand up for our truth and to in love say no. And we have a right to say no, and that we do have the freedom to choose how we choose to live freely. And so this is the gift that we're being called to do. There's a balance, and this is, if we can understand that when we can do things within the balance within us, the harmony within us, and what's true and right, what feels right for us, that's the way we're meant to be. Recognize it. So the biggest piece, like for you, when you end up divorcing at that time, is that you admitted it. That was the first step, is to have the level of awareness that you're recognizing, right? Recognize how you're feeling, recognize something isn't right here. There's an internal conflict happening. Perfect. Admit it. The biggest thing you can do is admit it, okay? And then once we admit it, it's the gateway of the courage and the willingness. Are you willing to take the self-responsibility for yourself to make the changes, to change it? And like you did it on a physical level, and that was what was the right path for you, right? Other people, they may transform things within themselves, and within their reality and viewpoint that can bring in a whole new reality, for them. So the gift here, and then there are many ways to do it. So Psych-K is one way, a very beautiful tool. If you like it to be, like you say, exponentially faster and a little bit kinder and easier. That's what I liked about it. It's just very efficient. It's just a beautiful tool that's efficient to work with your subconscious mind. That's the purpose, to make those changes of those limiting beliefs into the ones you're truly desiring, right? And then it's a beautiful complement for lots of other things too. So breath work, like we talked about, the breath work is huge, or even the channeling support. I'm really opening up to the channeling messages, and working with my spiritual team is my mentorship. That's where I receive my mentorships, and I do it within myself, and then I connect with others who are good channelers too. And I know this is fun that we get to play here in this whole new way and let things be in a more what's right for you. Find what's right for you. That's the key. So I know when we offer this with the Psych-K, it'll just be the ones that are ready to use this tool, and we welcome you. It's awesome. If it's not right for you, we love you, and we hope, we set the intention you'll find what's right for you, and that's what's great. So
Right.
the ones that aren't ready for the change, and they're like, ooh, I don't know about this, maybe we're just planting seeds to help them right now. And that's still beautiful, because when they're ready to let that germinate, some people have to wait till really crappy things happen in their lives to wake them up. Like when you got really, really sick, and that really woke you up, right? I prefer to work proactively. So I really like when I can sense within me, oh, this isn't right, or no, this isn't good. So then I'm going to like, no, let's go do something about this and make that change. I like to stay ahead of the game, and that's just what I prefer to do. And anyone else that would like to do that, it's actually a lot easier and more enjoyable in your life to, experience that, right? Yet the world will show you like how you're feeling from the heart center, lets you know. And this is when you can start to open this up, so you can live more consciously, live more in a higher level of awareness, to recognize when things are off. And when things are off, to be able to find a way to have a tool or a process or a system for you to be able to change it. And we agree to live in a very dark age in the 20th century, and then we agree to lift out of it and to remember who we are, and transmute and integrate. So I love to offer with you. Before you and I got into talking, I received my gift for myself today is a channeling session with Lauren Graham, lives in Toronto, and she's so precious, Lola. She's a coach, a life coach, and she also coming to a Psych-K basic workshop that I offered. It many times will open up your spiritual gifts if that's what your intention is, and what you're meant to do on this planet. Part of our divine plans, right? It did that to me too. And for her, it opened up a channel of Michael of a Light Consciousness, which is a 13th. Well, they shared with me their 13th dimensional consciousness of light and love that works for the universe of one, right? Of divine source of love and light of Mother, Father, God, however you want to describe that, right? And they want to help us as humans here in our evolution of our ascension here. So I listen to my spirit when I'm ready to connect with them, and then they speak through her, for this time. And it's such a gift. It's such a precious gift. And what they helped within me, what I recognize is that still a part of me, because you have to understand that there's no finish line. Like a lot of times we get constructed that, man, I just have to achieve this and then I got it, That's great when you have goals and you achieve it. It's awesome, right? But understand when we can open up to recognize that if you want to just have a wonder and enjoy life, right? And then set your intentions and have those, but understand there's always going to be another mountain. There's always going to be another challenge. It's for eternity, and we're meant to. Otherwise, we'd be bored. We'd be like, wow, okay. Well, a lot of people will. They'll quit their jobs and then they die 6 months later because they felt that was their life purpose, and then they didn't have their purpose anymore, right? So what I access within me today, and I'll offer this to whoever's listening today, because I believe all of humanity is going through this too. There's still this inner conflict with me. The level that I'm ready to work within myself now is the fear within me. I still had aspects of fears within me that was so hidden, and that's where in the subconscious mind it is so hidden, like it is tucked away beyond you can even imagine, right? And we have a divine self that helps guide us with this, that my love and light and love of the connection with the universe embraced that fear. So the fear actually was very sad. It was very sad, and it felt alone, and that's what fear does. Fear feels separate. It's false evidence appearing real. It feels like it's individual self. It's separate. So we have aspects within us that do feel separate, that do feel not included, that feels, like for me, it was the worthiness that was ready to rise, and the clearing of that sadness of that separateness that I was feeling within me, an aspect of me in there, of a fear. And then the gift was, this is like the most precious gift ever. Woo, I'm feeling it now. Is that, because this is my new way now, because I love to keep transforming, is my fear and my love, my true essence of my true love, that the fear is actually my gateway to my courage. And so now I'm honoring my fear. So I included my fear as if like a color of the tapestry. I see my life like a tapestry of colors, right? So the fear is like the black part. So it defines things. It outlines things. It really brings attention to stuff so that we can address it. And that's what fear's purpose is. We have been so programmed to be afraid of fear and to avoid it and to detach from it. My humanness within me and my divineness within me raised into a higher level of growing in, and to honor and welcome my fear to be my gateway for my courage. So that, and then I use Psych-K to help me transform the beliefs, with it. So I get this awareness, I get this shift, which is good. And then I use Psych-K, which just takes a couple minutes to just integrate it into my subconscious mind so that, it's in there as the program, right? Which I'm going to do after this talk, because all of this is like all coming through, which is really good. So wow. And I never honored fear before. I hated fear. I don't like fear. It doesn't feel good. Like, it scares the crap out of me, right? I peed my pants when I've been so afraid of things, right? Who likes fear, right? I don't know. Some people do. Typically prefer. But now I'm like, now to honor it, I'm going to allow fear to use its purpose here, to let it be the gateway of my courage. So, and that is what we're rising up in our energy field into, that more neutrality, to be an observer of ourselves, so that we can not have those reactive responses of dropping into anger or fear or guilt or shame that shuts down our creative thinking, our creative desires. And instead be, okay, fear, you're showing up. I'm feeling a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of fear with that. We have a choice point. We get to choose. Are we going to let it block us and stop us? Or are we going to say, thank you for being here. I have the courage to move through now and rise up. And so it actually is here to help us. So any fears that anyone has with anything going on around the world or in their lives, and then so you can use this to meditate and connecting with this. Some writing, spontaneous writing some people do, or just journaling, flow like with Qigong, Tai Chi, or yoga. Use breath work, or use whatever practice that works for you until they can come learn Psych-K and add that into their toolbox, right? Which I love having. Then yes, allow it, because when those roadblocks are there, they're there. Your subconscious is there to protect you, and it's designed for your survival, right? But you do need the gateway of courage to remove those blocks. And if people are too afraid even to come learn Psych-K, that may be another question to have, or they think it's not, whatever, it's not for them, whatever. Because some people are afraid to let go of their old way of thinking. If they were taught in a certain religion of beliefs or in a certain culture of beliefs, and then this might be too far out for them, right? That could be a bit of fear. That could be a bit of, just stay where you are and don't change. But the fear could also be, hey, we're here to wake you up so that you can have the courage to say, yeah, you know what? I'm okay to continue and grow in my truth and to believe and learn what I feel is right for me, not what everyone else told me to believe.
Right.
Okay? So this is a huge gateway we're going through right now. In the heart center, to unite with the mind. We're meant to live and be heart-centered beings and just use our mind like a computer to access it for the beautiful gift that the mind offers us. But we're not meant to be just mind beings here. We are human beings, humaning from our divine, of our heart, of our spirit, of our soul. Right? But now the gift is, especially 2022, everything is coming to light. All the shadow sides are our light, and the light of the universe is shining on, including those fear or darker energies, right? So if that comes up, it's going to be unique for you. It'll be unique for anyone else, is that you will ask this, that you can have a conversation with this fear, right? And then you're going to be asking yourself, okay, so you're here. Wow. So this is bringing up stuff within me, right? Whew. And this will be the things you could even ask yourself. So what do I think what am I afraid of, right? Step into it, instead of being afraid, or no, we're just going to go away, fear. I don't like you here. Everything's going good. What the heck are you showing up for, right? And then what happened within me, right? It showed up because it showed that it was separate, it was hiding, and it needed a hug. So you can even do this as a practice. Give your fear a hug. Say, yes, thank you for showing that there's an aspect maybe in your subconscious mind that still has an imprint of you might have in other lifetimes or with ancestral lineages and stuff where people got better and then they got sick again, or people have had all kinds of experiences, or you've heard that from other people. There's been stories of that. So your subconscious imprints all those stories and all those beliefs, right? You get to choose how you want to believe with that. And that's the gift. And that's really a gift with Psych-K, is that reprogram that. And you'll be learning this in April, which is huge, right?
Right.
And it is with your intention. So if you don't know Psych-K, use the level of your intention, the level of your knowingness, and then begin to take the action steps or live in that new way that shows that.
So this really is with fear showing up. It's not an unwelcome intruder. Welcome it in and see what needs to be transmuted. It's the same principles, right?
It is. Have tea with your fear. Right?
That's great.
Yes. And if you're willing to have the courage to do it, it is a bit of courage to do that, right? And be open in the vulnerability. It's opening up those vulnerable parts within us that are sensitive and that have closed off. That's our heart gateway. Opening that up and, okay, what part am I? Be brutally honest with yourself with it, right? And then the gift is when you can have the peace of a reality, a timeline. Hey, if the cancer did come back, to allow yourself to have peace with that, and that you'll transmute it again, and you will fly again. Whatever you desire to do. And then you also say, okay, it's here because you really want to live. It's probably showing you really want to live. That's why you don't want the cancer to come back, because you really love living here. Hello, right? So that's where probably the message is, what it's offering you is then really say, you know what? Thank you for showing up, fear. And I appreciate that, because guess what? I am living fully. I'm living every moment in a healthy, beautiful way. Do you see how you can get that conversation? Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's it.
And that fear just said, yeah, thank you. I did my job.
Oh, right.
And it's okay. And it's exactly, I know, that's the gift. We're not meant to eliminate fear. That was the biggest message I received today, because there was parts I was still pushing it away, or just trying to transform it into the piece of who I am, which is still beautiful, because we are shifting energy into a higher energy field. The most important is recognize it. Know it's there. I was not really recognizing the fear. It needs to be heard. That fear needs to be heard. There's a reason why it's there. And when you can hear it and include it and unconditionally love it and welcome it in and give it a big hug, let it go sit on your lap and say, yes, I can hear you. Go ahead and talk. What are you trying to say? With a loving from your heart center, it knows it's heard. And then it can dissolve. How nice is that, right?
Mary, that I just know that there are so many people that need to hear this message and will be blessed by this message.
The gift is for us to stand into put all of our energy of how we do want things to be instead of how we don't want things to be. We get too focused on what we don't want and what we're afraid of, or what we're trying to right, because that's the energy of survival. We're shifting into blossoming here, right? So this is the new way of being, and it's all about, and it is that point of, okay, and then when you can be, all right, yeah, well, all right, so that could happen, and then guess what? It can also be that it all dies down and it turns beautiful. So the sooner we can shift into knowing our power is the key, and that the power is that we create our realities, and it's based on what our beliefs that create our thoughts, that create our words, that create our life and our actions. So, right. Psych-K is huge to get to the gateway, to get into the subconscious stuff. But even before people learn Psych-K, the fact that they're recognizing it is huge. And they can work a lot with that, with at least preparing them to really start making those long-lasting changes at the subconscious level. So starting it, just become aware of it. Just notice it. Notice it, because whatever it is there, right? The fact of you noticing it is huge. And then shifting it to a positive. Shifting it to say, you know what, I'm going to turn you into a positive. However you want to, honor that. Does that make sense? And then if it is negative or sad, then you feel it. Let yourself feel it. It's the feelings. We're meant to feel everything for a few minutes or however much time you think you need, but please don't do it for years and years and years, right?
Right.
Woo, feel it, yes. And then that's here for a reason to integrate into you too. So, don't think you just have to do all this yourself. That's what I'm saying. So you work with the things you can do, but also receive the support, and say we're here for each other.
Oh, Mary, yes, absolutely. Because I could not have made it without my my spiritual tribe, and I knew who to call. And I say I kept my circle small of like-minded believers, that some were scattered all across the country. And Mary, you and I we're in neighboring states, but and we had just met through my cancer journey. But I had the most loyal soul sisters and a few soul brothers, together with my 2 actual brothers, and of course my husband, to meet me at a place of positivity during a stage 4 cancer diagnosis, believing that we could all do this together, and that, I have the tools and was going to find a way out of this. My father believed it from the beginning. My mother believed it from the beginning. And I give them so much credit because, I'm their precious beloved daughter. But they stood with me, not only in faith, but really believing and then knowing that I was going to be okay. And Mary, that is so profound. I was so gifted with that. And so I encourage anyone and everyone who is struggling, you're right, to reach out and to have someone meet you where you are, but then help get you to a more positive place.
Absolutely. And we do honor everyone if they do end up transitioning, like with cancer or even suicide or other things. We get our free will choice. And so it is important to honor everyone, because other people will say, yeah, but my other friends, they family members, we thought we did everything, but they still died, things like that. That we all have our own timelines, our own storylines, our own purposes here. And so we want to honor all of them. And I know, and it is tough when people are going through those times. And right, we do get when you're really to have that courage is the gateway, if you're willing to do that, and then accessing what you are truly desiring. That's who we help.
Yeah, Mary, and thank you for underscoring that. You're right. Not everyone is going to have my ultimate story, because this is my particular journey, and I'm co-writing my particular journey. So thank you for saying that. That's wonderful. Yeah.
It's beautiful, because you're bringing a huge light to people to know they can self-heal themselves, which is huge. It's just, do they want to? Do they want to in this time? We can go. That's okay too. And you can stay. And that's wonderful too. So it really comes down to, would you like to live here? Do you want to stay? Do you want to explore things? We're all only here on a short time. We all do go eventually on a physical level. And then we live to eternity. And when you recognize this is just one of our beautiful little adventures that we are having in our eternity. So when you can step back and embrace it, then you can begin to embrace all of it. The ups and the downs and all of it in between, and use it to help liberate us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And during this very special time of Ascension, which I know we didn't get a chance to really dive into, maybe we can dive into that more in another episode of what's happening all around us and within us, and these light coats that are pouring in.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. So if you feel tired, listen to your body. That's the biggest message. If you're drinking a lot of water, I know my system has had that. I've needed to sleep for a lot too. I know I'm sleeping until 8 or 8:30 in the morning, but I just listen to my body, and because I can, I'm glad I can. And so my system's loving sleep right now. I'm like, yes, thank you. It's okay, because we're going through massive changes. We're getting all kinds of light codes and things happening. So just be kind. Maybe be kind with yourself, and it's okay. It's all good. Yeah.
And I know that sleep is one of the best modalities for healing. The body knows what to do.
Right.
And sleep without interference is so healing, right?
Exactly. And then our spirits are never asleep. So we're doing all kinds of fun things while our body's sleeping.
Well, I've got some dreams.
Yeah, exactly. So good. It's like pretty fun, right? Yeah. Exactly.
It's fun. It is fun. Oh, and Mary, it's always fun to talk with you. Thank you so much, from my heart to yours.
My heart to yours, and to all who are hearing, that we all are one heart. Let's reunite, and then the love, and invite it all in, including fear.
Right, exactly.
Right, to help serve us. Yes, and help receive the gift that it brings. Yeah. Sound good?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mary. And until next time, bless you. Thank you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.